Hello there. Prices are also rising massively in the UK, and many Britons are facing an uncertain winter. Prices have risen massively not only here in Germany, but also in Great Britain, as I said, and in the Kingdom even more so. Gas, electricity, groceries, the British have to dig deeper into their pockets for everything. This hits especially hard those who already have little, like many in Woolwich in the London borough of Greenwich, for example. It's one of the districts that is often high on the negative list. The number of people who die before the age of 75 is high. There are many school dropouts. More than 40% of the children live below the poverty line. And now some German journalists were in this poor suburb of London. The perfect storm is brewing, says Anthony Okereke. He's councilman of Greenwich and the head of local government. The rising prices, the consequence of Corona, that's getting more and more people into trouble. At the end of August, he and his staff conducted a survey of 1,200 residents. The results shocked him too. More than 50% save on food, more than 40% on their energy consumption, 26% even skip meals because they can no longer afford it. Okereke is now worried about what happens in the winter when people don't heat, especially because some houses are not well insulated. We don't want cold apartments and the lack of the ability to heat apartments that will endanger people, he says. The district is countering this, he says. School meals are sponsored for children whose parents receive welfare payments. There are advice centers and free hotlines that people in need can call. But the possibilities of the districts are limited. In recent years, the budgets for the councils have been cut, and with it the scope to be able to intervene, as the opposition politician from the Labour Party criticizes. And it's not just the poorer neighborhoods like Greenwich that are suffering. Social support services from the government have also been scaled back further and even further. The price curve is rising steeply though. By July, gas prices had risen by 96% this year alone, and electricity prices by more than 50%. And there is no end in sight. The British government, under new Prime Minister Liz Truss, is now planning to freeze gas and electricity prices at £2,500 a year for an average household. This price guarantee applies to average consumption. So if you consume more, you also pay more. The system replaces a price cap that previously set a maximum value per kilowatt hour. In the summer, the cap was just under £2,000 and last winter was around £1,300. Councillor Okereke, although a Labour Party member himself, would like to hold back on passing judgment on the new Tory Prime Minister. In his eyes, however, the omens are not good. Her campaign was undoubtedly discouraging, he says. She came out as a politician who has a vision for a new Britain, who wants to be there for everyone, he says. But still, the jury isn't out that, he says, referring to US trials where the jury retreats to back room to reach a verdict. But the Prime Minister must now really improve things quickly. Okereke himself came to politics after violent riots broke out in London in 2011, as he once said in an interview. He saw the pictures as a student. There was also a fire in Woolwich at the time and decided to become active himself. But does he now fear riots again? I hope not, he says. And it doesn't sound very, firm. What gives him hope, however, is that the community is close-knit and that the people in the neighborhood support each other. An example for this is Patricia. She is currently standing in the pedestrian zone every Sunday, handing out food together with other members of her church. The day before they were interviewing her, they picked them up at Salisbury, a large supermarket chain. The three didn't stay long in the pedestrian zones. The bag with canned goods, bread and fruit were quickly empty. And many more people were already coming, she said. If they get something to eat here, they can spend their money on energy, she says. And there's Nijol Margarita. Actually, she likes her work in a hospital. Now she's considering going back to Lithuania. It's just not worth it anymore. Okereke also reports that many Europeans have left the country and thus the district since Brexit to return to the continent. And when Margarita wants to go, she doesn't know, but at the latest, £1,000 are €1,000, she says. The screen now shows the coffin that is taking the Queen to Edinburgh from Scottish estate when they were interviewed, and that's why they talked about this, so you know what happens at the same time. But there's this big, yeah, it's a big thing for most of the country at the moment, but still everyday life goes on, and we must not forget this, and that's why I'm doing these videos still on those topics. And I'll see you in my next video. I'll be back.